What's up, everybody? Welcome to that's the end of week 5. Heading into week 6 now. I always get this thing messed up. There we go. I'm out of the picture. Want to get to you guys some waiver wire stuff heading into the week. Some big news. It's just breaking at the moment. Jay Ajayi is going to be out. He's going to be out for a little bit of time, which means we're going to need to be scrambling on the waiver wire. We're already at some running backs who are going to be injured this week. Jay Ajayi is one, along with Matt Breida, who is expected to miss a couple of weeks here, which is unfortunate because that means we're probably going to be playing Kyle Juszczyk at some point. So we need to go out there and pick up some running backs off the waiver wire. And let's be honest, not a lot of great ones. That's one position that we've been struggling at for quite some time. Unfortunately, now it's getting even thinner. Guys like Giovanni Bernard is also out. We've missed Marlon Mack for quite some time. So it's going to be a little bit difficult trying to find these guys up the waiver wire, but there are a couple of names. And listen, it sounds like Kyle Juszczyk is a joke, but it really will be somebody that we're going to have to start paying attention to, somebody to look at least in leagues that are a little bit deeper. Of course, with Jay Ajayi out for right now, one of the names that we could go look at the moment would be Wendell Smallwood. He's been playing pretty well as of late. The last couple of weeks, he has kind of split time and has kind of emerged as somebody in that offense who should be comfortable getting a little bit more attention or perhaps expanding his role a little bit. So he is going to be the number one guy on the waiver wire. And I guess we should also say that if anybody offers you a trade today that has Jay Ajayi's name in it, go ahead and reject that trade. As a matter of fact, kick that guy or girl out of the league because you know what? That's not cool. You're a terrible person if you're doing that kind of stuff. But I know people will come out and be like, it's a cutthroat industry. We need to do these nope, you don't need to do that. That is not cool. A couple of years, I think it was last year, as a matter of fact, James Coe and I were participating in the League of Leagues, which we won, by the way. We had made a deal to acquire Russell Wilson because one of the other managers had Deshaun Watson. So we had this deal and we were all set to go, but then news broke literally that day that Deshaun Watson was going to be out for the season. James and I did the right thing. We called that person, literally called them. It was a team of guys. We called one of them. And I said, hey, look, Watson's out for the year. If you don't want to do this deal, we'll take it off the table right now. We understand. That guy did. And you guys might be like, hey, why would you do that? It cost yourself some money. But at the same time, James and I ended up winning that league. So maybe karma eventually won it for us. So what do you think? So Wendell Smallwood, I guess my point is Jay Ajayi is going to be out for some time. That Breida's out. Wendell Smallwood should jump to the top. An interesting name, though, I want you guys to consider is Josh Adams, who's played a little bit. He played a couple of weeks ago, had 6 attempts, got 30 rushing yards, looked pretty good. Somebody who was impressive during the preseason. And I wonder if he's going to start figuring into the mix a little bit more. He had 1 attempt yesterday or Sunday, depending on when you were watching this, lost a yard, but is still a pretty good talent and somebody that you should be taking a look at. So if Wendell Smallwood is the first name off the board, you missed him, you don't have a high priority, you miss out on Wendell Smallwood. Josh Adams is somebody I would definitely pay attention to. And really, again, I know it's going to sound like a lark that I'm going to say Kyle Juszczyk, because I know a lot of people are going to run to the waiver wire and they're going to see if Freddie Morris is available. And Freddie Morris is fine. But Kyle Juszczyk actually fits that offense better. And if I had to pick up a running back from the San Francisco 49ers, I'm probably not going to get Freddie Mo. I would pick up Kyle Juszczyk because I expect Kyle Juszczyk. And I know it always sounds like you're trying to do a bad Italian accent. Like, hey, I want to open a pizza shop. What do you think? Yeah, Juszczyk with my cousin, you know. He's a humble kid from Schaumburg. You got to go talk to him. Juszczyk with him, and you might be able to get those permits pushed through. I guess that's more of a Chicago Italian person, but you know what? Listen, that's where I'm from. There's one person that's joined us right now. And by the way, if you're listening to this, if you're listening to this, the special edition is dropping like it's hot, like it's a surprise Eminem diss track. Like, what's going on? Well, I appreciate you doing that. This is on YouTube. This is something we're trying out. So we're streaming on YouTube right now. We'll send this out. If my man Mitch is ready and able, this will probably be a special edition of the podcast. Not very long. I'm not going to take up too much of your time. So maybe if you're just driving across the valley to go to Macy's or whatever you're going to do, you want to drive downtown, going to go out to the M, whatever you're going to do, you could listen to this. So, but the point is, Wendell Smallwood, Josh Adams, Freddie Morris is also going to figure into the mix. And of course, Kyle Juszczyk. Kyle Juszczyk. All of more of this stuff on What Now Wednesday on the NFL Network. We got some other people who you could be looking at on your waiver wire. Let's talk about Kiki Cutie, wide receiver for the Houston Texans. Now, he should have been stashed in all your leagues after his huge week 4, but, you know, I understand a lot of times people, they're just unimpressed, and they don't want to chase the points. Like, I'm not going to believe what I just saw with my own eyes, and you don't want to do that, and I understand that's fine. But if you watched the game on Sunday night, and I'm assuming you did, QT was out there making plays. And he's also already, in a limited amount of time, he's already commanded 26% of the Texans' targets. And he lines up in the slot 68% of the times. And the cool thing is, he's averaging 4.3 air yards per target, which indicates that he's going to be that underneath guy for the Texans, something that they've desperately needed. Now, I know for the longest time, they always have like tight ends that they like to throw to. They always like to throw to the family guy, Griffin. They always throw to him. But I think QT is going to be somebody who emerges in that offense. And it's an offense that continues to evolve and continues to play a lot better. So I really like what they've got going on with them. So if you miss out on one of the running backs, honestly, if you miss out on Smallwood, you're probably going to be fine. I don't think there's going to be a mad dash to go pick up Kyle Juszczyk. There might be. If you're in my league, that's the problem with my leagues, is that my friends and family, they actually listen to me when it comes to fantasy football. They want to go out and pick guys up. But we'll figure this out. We'll figure this out. QT should be somebody you definitely are going to want to. Also in that mix, MVZ, Marquez Valdez-Scantling. We saw him emerge a couple of weeks ago, started to get some targets. He was somebody I was advocating for pretty heavily the last couple of weeks, getting him on your team. As a matter of fact, on Good Morning Football Weekend on Sunday, I had him as part of my Don't Add Him segment. Don't add him. Clever, right? Okay. So he was good. Blake Bortles scored more than Patrick Mahomes. And I know a lot of people were upset by that. And this is one of the things. This is why guys like Steve Smith want to punch me in the face. He doesn't really literally. I mean, figuratively. But it's why these former players always don't seem to like fantasy football, is because it's hard to watch a game like the Jags and Chiefs and come away. And obviously, Blake Bortles was not the best quarterback in that game, but he scored the most points. And it's so hard for people to wrap their heads around. Like, why is the scoring system set up for somebody like Blake Bortles to succeed while Patrick Mahomes does not? And here's my quick little fix for that. Number one, start awarding points for quarterback wins. The quarterback gets 5 wins. And Adam, what's going on? Naheem Hine is definitely worth a set. Naheem Hine, I didn't mention Naheem Hine. If we're going to backtrack here for a moment, the reason I didn't mention him is I figure he's rostered in a lot of leagues, but definitely has a role with the Colts. Somebody who figures prominently in PPR leagues, played well against the Patriots again. I think we've seen this now for a couple of weeks. So he's a pretty good option. I like him. I like Naheem Hine. I do. I like him a lot. But MVS, I'm sorry. I was in the middle of saying what you can do to fix the quarterback position. Number one, award 5 points for a quarterback win. That should be something that we should be able to get into games. Number two, Play in a league where you get 6 points for a passing touchdown, -4 for an INT. And if there was a way to do it, I don't think that we're at this point yet, but at some point, I hope somebody like Scott Fish or somebody who's created a game can figure out a way to get -10 points for a pick six. That would be the best. That would actually solve everything. But 6-4, 5 points for quarterback wins. I don't know if you can add that in certain platforms. If you can give quarterback wins, I'm actually going to push our developers to try to get that as an option into our game. But MVZ, we loved him last week. He 7 receptions, 68 yards, 1 touchdown. That's on 10 targets. He actually would have had a second touchdown, but that was overruled. So that was unfortunate. So literally, we're looking at a guy who could have had 2 touchdowns, probably should have had 2 touchdowns. So it was good. I mean, listen, you're not going to argue. He had 68 yards and a touchdown. That's 12.8 points in standard leagues. If you're playing in a PPR league, that's 19.8 points. So you're fine. He ran 58% of his routes out of the slot. And if either Cobb or Geronimo Allison misses week 6, I love MVS against the 49ers. Very confident. This is going to be such a get-well game for Aaron Rodgers. I'm not ready to write them off. We're not going to do that yet. We're not writing off Aaron Rodgers. I want to. Like, I was literally sitting there up until the last 3 seconds of that game against the Giants. I'm like, I still don't believe that the Packers are going to lose this game. Somehow Aaron Rodgers is going to find a way, but you know what? They held on. That's fine. We loved it. It was amazing. It was the weirdest thing watching that game. Now, obviously, I'm a Bears fan, so I take great delight in watching Mason Crosby missing all those field goals until I realized I have Mason Crosby on literally every team that I have. And it was kind of upsetting to me. But that's cool. And here, okay, so I like MVS. If we need a quarterback this week, let's talk about quarterbacks. Somebody who's going to be available on your waiver wire and who's going to have a fantastic matchup. Jameis Winston is going to be available for you. And let me tell you something. In 11 full starts last year, Winston was the QB 8. He was second in yards per attempt, second in Pro Football Focus's quarterback rating under pressure. And he led everyone in passing yards per game, 307 yards. They're going to do a high-flying, high-upside aerial attack. I love this. Ryan Fitzpatrick was throwing the ball all over the yard. You don't think Jameis is going to come in and do this? And let's look at his matchups upcoming. Falcons, Browns, Bengals, Carolina, all of them rank in the bottom 10 in passing yards allowed per game. I really think that a lot of the success that Ryan Fitzpatrick had will translate to Jameis. And anybody who is super bummed, I'm telling you right now, if you need a quarterback, if you're streaming quarterbacks, Jameis Winston, he might be your top priority. Get Jameis Winston on your roster. Also get Cameron Brate. He is going to be a guy you're going to want to add this year or this week as well. If you need a tight end, if you've been somebody you could probably drop O.J. Howard. It's going to be Cameron Brate. Quarterbacks, they fall in love, guys. They have their preferences and everything like that. You go out, you do that, you're copacetic. Also, some names to consider. Mike Davis apparently has a role with the Seattle Seahawks. That's interesting. Happy that they're doing that. Thank you, guys. Christian Kirk looks pretty good. Mark Walton, deep sleeper running back. Again, another guy you want to keep an eye on over the next couple of weeks. There's not a lot of depth in the backfield with the Cincinnati Bengals. Their RB1 just came back from a knee injury. They ran him 85 times or whatever they did. Almost overworked them. So that's something to pick up. And if you're just joining, I know this was a live stream, so perhaps we can play this like it was. Wendell Smallwood is going to be a play. If you're just joining us right now, Wendell Smallwood is going to be the play. We're also going to be looking at Josh Adams. Those two guys. Josh Adams, I don't know if he suffered from the Aaron Jones type of syndrome. But anyways, those are the guys to pick up. And again, if you're just joining it, Wendell Smallwood, Josh Adams. You can go with Alfred Morris. I really like Kyle Juszczyk as somebody who's going to be a sneaky fantasy player this week. I'm going to start him. And what's up, Corona boys? What's happening? You're joining the live stream right as we're getting ready to close down. I will stay on for 5 more minutes in case you guys have any questions. And we'll call it a bonus 5. To talk about some of these other guys that we might have missed over the last couple of minutes. Mike Davis is the one that's interesting to me because I kind of dogged him last week. I was like, it's an aberration. There's no way that this guy is not going to be anything worthwhile. And there he is, Chris Carson running up and down the field. And then here comes Mike Davis. And it's so funny to me. The Seahawks, their running game was dead water up until about 2 weeks ago. Now all of a sudden, we're scrambling to go pick up their running backs. It's like that scene in Con Air where Bubba Gump has got the insulin attack and he's just laying there. He's dying the whole flight. And all of a sudden, he gets his insulin shot. He turns into Superman. John Malkovich is sitting there, just shooting him. And he's like, yeah, I don't care. I'm rolling through all this. I don't care. I have no worries about this at all. Crazy. Christian Kirk looked pretty good. MJD said on the show today, this was one of my favorite analogies that I liked was Christian Kirk and Josh Rosen are like the new guys. They're the young guys at the party. They're now taking over. They're taking over. They're hanging out. They're having a good time. They're like Larry Fitzgerald's like the dude in Varsity Blues who shows up to the after party. Like, hey, I'm class of 88. He's still wearing his Letterman jacket and Tweeter hits him in the balls. That's pretty much Larry Fitzgerald right now with that Cardinals offense. Question just came in about tight end for next week. Is it going to be Austin Hooper? Maybe. I mean, Austin Hooper, definitely worth picking up. Cameron Brate, definitely worth picking up. Either one of those guys, I feel, whoever you can pick up is the guy you can go with. I like Brate a little bit more. He seems like more of a red zone option for them. Austin, he's probably going to give you some more consistency. I think Cameron Brate will be a better long-term value for you. Somebody that you can count on each week, week in and week out. Cameron Brate will be there for you. Austin Hooper is going to be a guy who flashes. Plus, there's so many mouths to feed in that Falcons offense. Obviously with Julio, obviously with Calvin Ridley, Mohamed Sanu, the sneakiest play of them all. Devontae Freeman can catch the ball, Tevin Coleman, and then you have Austin Hooper. So that's a tough one. Cobb, or really, if you're talking about Randall Cobb might not, we don't know when he's coming back. Calvin Ridley, I think what we got in a couple of weeks, you saw that flash, and you're like, well, that was great. He had 6 touchdowns. He had more. Coming into last week, he had more touchdowns than AB, Julio, and Juju combined. And, of course, AB catches 2. Juju has a 1. Julio's still waiting. Still waiting on that Julio touchdown, but that's okay. That's okay. We'll fix that at some point. But I really do like Ridley this week. I don't think that the Buccaneers went out there and fixed all their problems. I don't think that they're going to give up 6 touchdown passes to Matt Ryan, although they could. They're not going to give up 6 touchdown passes, but it's still, there's still something to be said that it's going to be a good matchup. I'm happy to play all those guys. I'm going to be stacking Falcons and DFS. I'm going to stack some Bucks. I really want to stack some Bucks. I love Aaron Jones. Here's the problem with Aaron Jones. There's no problem with Aaron Jones. The problem was with Mike McCarthy, is that he's not using him correctly. Every time Aaron Jones touches the ball, he gets like 7 yards? It seems like he gets 7 yards a pop. And you've got a quarterback who's hobbling around on one leg. You're running some rookie receivers out there. Devontae Adams is slowed by injuries. Jimmy Graham is never going to fit in this offense because the tight end just never fits in this offense. Wouldn't it make sense to just try? You're up against the team that has allowed the most rushing yards in the year, and you're not going to try to establish a run against them? I don't get it. I don't get what exactly is going on with the Green Bay Packers. So I personally like them. The only problem is Mike McCarthy doesn't like them, which means that's tough for me. But listen, I got to run. I got to get out of here. There's somebody else coming into this room after I'm done. So I appreciate you guys checking it out. Appreciate you guys. Oh, no, don't do that. Don't do that. I appreciate you guys hanging out and downloading and listening or listening to the live stream or however you're taking in this content. I always appreciate it. I thought it was fun. We came in after the show, was able to talk to you all and get some things sorted out. So good luck. Yeah. Thank you, Corona, for checking in. Appreciate you. Go Panthers. Dude, we got to start beating the Huskies again. I don't know. Listen, for me, I never lost to the Huskies. I'm just saying that right now, but good luck to everybody. We'll see you later in the week. I'll be back on NFL Fantasy Live on Wednesday. I'm taking Tuesday off. I'm going to drink some beers, eat some sushi, and have a lot of fun. So you guys take it easy. I will talk to you later. And I know I probably got to do this twice. I'm sure I want to start recording, but thank you, everybody.